in the end, it just slows down the progression of humanity.
Definitely, that's facts, man. And then talk about how you and Capone linked up, man, because you had the legendary Noriega Capone, that classic duel. So how did you guys link up?
My man Mercury Beats, who is one of the is pretty much him and I executive produced Lesson 2, Hip Hop and Education. Merc is my man, and he's a very, very talented guy, and he works with a lot of people. Merc doesn't get the credit that he's due as far as how talented he is, and as far as the people that he work with, and as far as the people that he connects. But he connected me with Capone. I just walked into the studio one day. Capone was there, and they were working on their own project, their music. Capone and Daz Dillinger is working on a project together. And Merc is doing a lot of the work on it. So I'm walking into the studio, all of this is playing, and I asked Merc if he can make an introduction. And then outside of the introduction, I'm like, do you think he would be interested in doing getting on Lesson 2, doing this project? So Capone said yes. We met and we did the song Redemption, which is on Lesson 2. It's the last song on Lesson 2. And it was the last song recorded. It was, Lesson 2 was done. I wanted, after meeting Capone, I'm like, yo, can we fit this in? You know what I'm saying? And of course I can fit it in. It's my album. So that studio session is the first time that we had a conversation. You know what I'm saying? That we had dialogue. We seen each other in passing, said what's up, you know what I mean, and dapped each other. But that studio session was the first time that we had dialogue. And we just connected. You know what I'm saying? It was just a cool vibe. It was Capone, my man Jack Sparrow, myself, and Merc Beats. And Jack Sparrow's always my man, you know what I'm saying? And I always loved working with him. He's one of my favorite artists. And after that, I said, yo, this song came out so good, can we do another joint? So I'm like, because I'm going to be working on Lesson 3 soon. So we met. We did another song, and I was supposed to save that song and put it on Lesson 3. But the chemistry between Capone and I was so great that we were like, yo, let's just do this EP. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep working together. It was a fun situation. It was a cool vibe. It was two brothers connected, you know what I mean? And getting to know one another and sitting in the studio and doing all that and building this friendship that sparked out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We really did not. It was supposed to be Redemption, and then it was done. Right. You know what I'm saying? It was going to be the one song, and it was going to be over. But the vibe between me and this brother was so cool. Matter of fact, when I'm done with this interview, I got to go see him. You know what I'm saying? He's shooting a video that I got to go run. He told me about it this morning. But the vibe was so cool. We was just able to form a friendship outside of music. You know what I'm saying? And we started hanging together and doing different stuff, and you know what I'm saying, and running around, and our families met, and my daughter's been to his house, and you know what I'm saying, and I know his kids, our wives know each other and stuff like that. So it became a friendship beyond music. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we just brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like we can do music, we cannot do music. That's just a friend of mine. Still working. You know what I mean? But that's how we met. We met basically when Merc Beats introduced us. Redemption in that studio session at Merc Studio was our first real conversation. We didn't know each other. You know what I'm saying? We all went into the booth trying to tear each other's heads off. Jack Sparrow literally set the tone of the studio because he said, no disrespect to y'all, but I'm going to bust y'all ass when I get into this booth. I'm trying to be all polite and, you know what I'm saying? I'm a really nice guy, I think. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to play it cool and all that. But once the tone was set, then it's like, all right, let's go to war. I'm with it. And then that competitiveness really just sparked something else, you know what I mean? And because it was a respectful competitiveness. You know what I mean? You can't respectively compete with everybody. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people take that competitiveness or that combativeness as a form of disrespect, and then that gets out of control and it turns into something else. So when you can have that vibe, which is one of the reasons me and my man Jack Sparrow is so cool. When we get together, we have these long, drawn out, friendly arguments. Heated, but very friendly, you know what I'm saying? And very respectful. So that is the foundation of our friendship. Being in those studio sessions, coming up with the songs, listening to beats, then hitting the road for a little bit and doing certain shows. And it's been over 3 years now. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that this is a lifelong brother that I knew from my past and all that. We've known each other for over 3 years now. But that first year set the tone, and that second year established the friendship because we went through different things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We went through some real things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because
we had to have each other's back in different scenarios. He had my back in a different situation. I had his back in a different situation. And when you go through real things, and you get to see a person, and you get to see who they are behind. Like, you can meet me and be like, this is a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? But then when we're in a situation and you see how I move, you know what I mean, you could gain your own respect from that. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that happen.
Yeah, no, because I had a chance during this whole, I think, was it last year? It was definitely last year. I got the chance to interview Daz and Capone on their joint project, and I also mentioned your project Wolves as well in that conversation. And that, because for me that was just like, yo, that's bucket list stuff for me, man. That's Dillinger and Capone. I got to interview these people, and exactly it. And it's like you said, you guys literally, from the sound, like from you explaining your history and from what we know of Capone's, you guys are literally like worlds apart when it kind of comes to it. But it's just, I suppose it's like where the beauty of the growth comes from, because the fact is the Wolves EP is dope. Like, still one of my favorite track of it is Wolves. Like, that track is just a literal solidified banger, like no question of doubt. But and what crazy thing is like, because it's like, it literally is like, you got the sweet and then you got like the sour or savory with it all, because Capone, that's CNN, that's what they're about, and then you got you with your stuff. But I also was very interested in the fact is when I think his response is that he just liked what you were doing, and he appreciated the fact of how you were making it your, not so I'll say mission, but it's just like where your passion, I think maybe is the more correct word, of how you want to educate people within hip hop. Because when you listen to your albums and going back to Redemption, and also Black Matters, which is a collection, as you've of a lot of your tracks and such, you really go in, like solidly go in, like with like no regards at all, bro. Like, there's like some stuff that makes you peek your ears, and you're just like, oh wow, like, okay, so you can do this. And also, like, collabing with one of my favorite artists who I still want to interview to this day is Talib. So how did that connection all happen? How did that cross magical music collabo happen?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, but I gotta grab a cord because I don't want this Mac to cut off. Give me 1 second. You know what I mean?
That's cool, man. Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, man. This is dope, man.
I'm going to say that I just sent you a message because my internet keeps on cutting out. So I'm not sure how the recording's going to turn out, because there's certain bits of the thing that literally went into spinning circles of death. So they weren't for too long, but there might be little segments that are missing. So we need to put another message up. I'll just put the usual blanket over this now. Or in fact, we could just use this. Bearing in mind, if you watch to this point, I've had some internet issues. Just say it.
All right, that's fine. We all have internet issues.
1 second, I just gotta plug this bad boy in. Hold on.
No problem.
I apologize about this, man.
No. We value your time, and you're taking the time to talk to us, man. So it's all love, man. This is all love, man.
And you can't blame technology on yourself,
technology, man. No,
I know. I
But yeah, man, this is good stuff, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's still a bit more because we still haven't covered the Smart Hip Hop Global stuff as well. But I definitely want to get into the Talib stuff.
All right, definitely, because again, and then we can just, like you said, just break it. We can just break this interview into different parts. Instead of doing like a full interview, just break it on different parts. We do like one part to talk about Harriet Tubman.
So you want me to spend a whole bunch of other time editing and cutting out the whole video is what you say.
No, I'm just saying
more work, is it, dog?
I can do it. You want me to do it? I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'm playing. We still need to keep it full for the for the Spotify stuff. But yeah, anyways, back. So we're live in effect. So yeah, you and Talib.
Okay. Brother Talib Kweli. What happened with us was I just finished lesson 1. And lesson 1 did a lot better than I anticipated it would do. Amazon bestseller. It was like number 8 on hot new releases. Hold on, I was just running around the house. Let me catch my breath. So people contacted me about consideration for a Grammy nomination in the educational category. Like I didn't get the nomination actually, but the fact that I was even contacted and put into consideration of that, it's not something that, because I wasn't nominated, it's not something that I speak about like that, because I'm like, I was nominated for a nomination. But for me, it was big. I did not anticipate that album doing what it did, taking me around the world, you know what I'm saying? And, I've been rhyming for a long time, and finally when I shift gears to do something for the people, boom, you know what I'm saying? Something crazy starts happening. So I went into lesson 2 with a different mind frame. I'm like, yo, I need this to be a bigger project. And I want to have an artist on this project that I really think highly of, and then I feel like can really contribute to what I'm trying to do. And who better than Talib Kweli? You know what I'm saying? He's one of my favorite artists. I've been listening to him for years. I think, Blacks, Most Def, Talib is one of my favorite artists. And even though that's my brother, man, I think Most Def is just a lyrical animal, man. His Black on both sides, still living it, Most Def. When I say that, I'm talking about Most Def, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just being inspired by that brother and inspired by the music that he puts out, and Talib is such a lyrical workaholic. I asked Merk to get in contact with him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Merk doesn't get enough credit. You know what I'm saying? He's really a magic man behind the scenes. And he did. And the same as Capone, when I met Capone was like, I had to do my homework on you. Talib was pretty much the same. Like, yo, I had to do my homework on you. You know what I'm saying? But Talib Kweli is surrounded by educators. I think his mom's a teacher, you know what I mean? And, his peoples are in the education field. So when he saw what I was doing, he respected the lyricism. He saw what I was doing and he was with it. And we came up with, Merk made the beat. I laid the joint and I sent it over. He laid his verse and we sent it back because I wanted to do it with him, but he was in California at the time. So we couldn't meet in New York or meet in Jersey to do it. But I appreciated the fact that he took the time out while he was over in California to even work with this kid he never met. You know what I'm saying? And us talking, on the computer and using the internet and stuff like that. I just appreciate that, brother. That song really, it put me in a different category as far as I went from just being this guy who's doing this educational joint. Now I'm doing an educational joint, but it's Talib Kweli on it. And it gave me more room to breathe, and it opened up a different lane for me. You know what I'm saying? That song did some, and I told him that in the interview, that song opened doors for me that was closed before. So, it was really for me, because I'm a rapper, like when we got the beat and I wrote to it, Merk was like, listen, I want you to take a couple days, work on your verse. And I came back the next day, like, come on, man, let's get it, let's go. He's like, you sure you? I'm like, bro, if you don't send that man this verse. So, and that's how it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't need I'm like, man, this is Talib Kweli. I didn't need a week to write the verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, let us go. And, and that's how it happened, man. And that's, it's a different, we wanted that song to sound different. We didn't want it to have a typical boom bap type of sound. You know what I mean? And we wanted to put the kids in it and have the hip hop. Shout out to my man Jay Son who's singing on it. Shout out to my man Jay Ski who's doing the scratches on it. The kids on it is a family, nieces and nephews. I think they're Merck's nieces and nephews and whatnot. And you know, we just came up with that.
Dope.
Run America. And it's about the youth running America. The children are the future.
That's right.
Facts.
Right there, bro.
Indeed. Indeed. Shout out to Talib Kweli, man. That's a brother for life for me. Brother for life.
I'm gonna interview Talib. Don't worry, I'm coming, bro. For real. You ain't the only one with a
podcast. Very intelligent brother.
So yeah, I know, man. I mean, he's the one when I because I used to freestyle and I wanted to go on that rap thing, but as like P. Diddy said, not everybody in a group can be a rapper, right? And freestyling was more my thing. But when I first started rhyming, it was like with my boy that I met back in high school, and we literally just found a bondship because here in the UK, it was all about being an MC. So it was like a garage MC, and then grime started to do its thing as well. And we were literally just doing the usual stuff, you know, like pop hating, like not really into the pop scene, you know, your Britneys, your Justins, all of that stuff. And then the other bits and bobs you usually talk about, which hip hop did, you know, the cars, clothes, the money, the jewels, you know, all these things I got as the lyrics go. But then it was until I heard Talib, and it was on when magazines used to give CDs with like, with track, like it was a compilation CD of like the hottest things, and this one came from just like the hottest in the States, and that's where The Blast was on. Talib Kweli's The Blast, and ever since I heard that song, I was like, well, wait, hold on, you can actually spit like this, so you don't actually have to focus on what was kind of mainstream and popular at the time, and still make it sound this dope. Lo and behold, got Train of Thought. Then from there, like finally got like, you know, Black Star. Then went on to get the Quality album. Then just after album to Gutter Rainbows. I mean, I've literally listened to every single Talib Kweli album that's ever been, you know, produced. Even especially his collabs with, I love his collabs with Styles P, which is quite similar to like You and Capone.
Oh, that album is
You and Capone is almost like a Talib and Styles, bruh. It was only 7 joints, was it? It was only 7 tracks. I think the last one released was only like 7 tracks because there was another project, and I was just like, raw, like, nah, it's crazy.
Styles P and Talib Kweli, you know, that's and I was impressed. I mean, I'm a Styles P fan. I'm a Laks fan, but I was really impressed. I didn't anticipate hearing what I heard from Styles. You know what I'm saying? And he's a bar machine. You know what I mean? He's one of them Black Thought type of MCs. But I'm so used to hearing hardcore hip hop from Styles, and even though it was hard, but you know what I mean, it was still going. And I was just impressed. You know, I'm so used to hearing about the box that I didn't think that I was going to be impressed. I thought I would think it was dope because I love his music. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, this is nuts. But yeah, that was a crazy project, man.
Yeah, my early days of top Kweli was Lyricist Lounge.
Lyricist Lounge, yeah.
I think that was on this one, the Cypher. I think it was him. I forgot the name of the title, but it was them outside the club and they were just spitting. I think it was him, Wordsworth.
Yeah.
I forgot a couple of people. That was my first introduction to Top Kweli. I'm like, yo, who is this dude?
Yeah, I used to have them little Lyricist Lounge tapes.
Yeah, see how lucky you guys are. I had to wait till the CD. I think it was Lyricist Lounge Part 3, and this is Raucous, like towards when they started to filter away. I mean, Raucous had some of the craziest MCs on their rosters at that time.
Moral March, most.
I was trying to sign with Raucous at one time.
Really? What happened with that?
Man, it didn't happen. You know, I sent my demo to the office. They had me come up there. Loved my work. I didn't bring enough music at the time. And they wanted me to come back. But it was a lot going on in my life. I was about to have my first child. You know, it was a lot happening. And it just didn't work out, man. I have a million didn't work out stories. It was Raucous, Flavor Unit, Palace Records, I've met numerous artists, got everybody's number. Redman, he was one of the first artists, speaking of Newark, New Jersey, who actually gave me a shot that I did not capitalize on. He was the first person that gave me a number.
Wow.
Met him. I was like a 14, 15-year-old kid at the time, and I rapped for him at a show that he did at Rutgers University. And he was like, yo, you dope, and gave me the number and was like, yo, call this number, you know what I'm saying? I called it like 2 or 3 times and let the phone ring and nobody ever picked up, and I thought it was like a bogus number. And the crazy thing about that story is about 2, 3 years ago, I'm watching Redman on maybe Vlad, I don't know, one of these joints, and he was like, yeah, I had got this number, and he was like, I had to call it for like 4 or 5 months before somebody picked up the phone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I only called like 2 or 3 times. You know what I'm saying? But he gave me the number that he was calling, and I'm like, yo, I was just a dumb kid, man, just a dumb kid. You know what I'm saying? So it was you know, but I've met DJ Polo, Coogee Rap, and they, you know what I'm saying, gave me numbers, and I did all of that, man, and I have a million misses. But I'm still on the grind, I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I love to do.
But looking back then, do you think you weren't ready? Now that you know where you're at right now, you think it happened for a reason?
No. I think it was a missed opportunity, you know. Sometimes you have opportunities in life. You can make a right, you can make a left. You just have to be accountable for the decisions that you make. Everything that happens in your life is a result of the words that you say and the actions that you do, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whether you want to say luck or this and that, I was ready. You know what I mean? And I had a bunch of, I remember Rough House in Columbia. They wanted to sign me.
Wow.
I didn't leave the demo. You know what I mean? Like we went in there, it was me, a young kid, me, my man Tyke. It was the demo produced by Megahertz. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in like the 9th grade. And we walked in there and put the joint in, and they took us out of one room and took us into a studio so we could listen to it on big, and they called the whole staff in and all of that. And the only person I couldn't come was the president of the company because he was in a session with, I don't know, God knows who.
Wow.
And they was like, yo, you just got to lead a demo. But at the time, we like, nah, because we don't want you to steal the music and all this and all that. And, you know, and we left. Blown opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You know, this was Rough House in Columbia, right in Philly. So I've had those types of encounters. And it's like, if you make one decision, it goes this way. If you make another decision, it goes that way. So as opposed to just saying, nah, what, you know, I was ready, but you just have to be accountable for the things that you do, because there's a lot of people who get lucky, you know what I mean, or make decisions and now they're wrong. And you're like, yo, how that happened? They deserve that and all that. Nah, you know, you just have to be accountable for the things that happen in your life, man. And whatever happens, happens. Roll with it.
True.
Very true. So, like, also now, just moving on a bit. So, how did the SmartHipHop Global idea come together?
The initial idea came from, I was part of a team, and we was called Real Hip Hop. It was like real-hiphop.com was the joint, and we used to go around and do these Got Lyrics battles. It was my man Kyle Dusum, my man Deshaun Teller. It was a bunch of us. Deshaun Teller was on like the Dame Dash Ultimate Hustler show and all that. So we met in college. We all met at Rutgers. And we formed this group, you know what I'm saying? So we're going around doing parties. I'm the MC, you know, the DJs. We were doing other things. We was doing a lot. They came up with an idea. My man Kyle, we call him New Skills. Who's a principal now, you know what I'm saying? But he came up with an idea. He was like, yo, I want to gather a bunch of brothers and I want to do an educational album for children. So he came to me and was like, yo, I want you to do like 1 or 2 songs on the project. I'm like, cool. I was working on a song about the presidents, coincidentally, at the time. So I'm like, yo, let me just tone it down and make it for children. This is the song, The First 25 Presidents. So after I recorded that song, I I came back and I'm like, yo, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't get a bunch of other artists to do all of this positive music and all of this educational joint. You know what I mean? We had a couple songs, but we couldn't get everybody to do it. So I'm like, well, I like doing this, you know what I mean? And so after I wrote that, then I wrote Black Women in Congress, then I wrote The Moors. Then, I just went on to write Lesson 1. So I came back and I'm like, yo, I want to put this out. But at that time, everybody was kind of over it, you know what I mean? And it was like, listen, we can't get everybody to do it, you know what I'm saying? And everybody wanted to just move on. And I didn't want to, you know what I mean? So at that point, I said, you know what? I'm going to start my own company, you know what I mean? And at the time, it was still under the umbrella of me and my peoples and what we was doing. And I'm like, yo, I'm just going to start and I'm going to have this branch. You know, eventually, everybody's lives went into different direction. People doing different things. You know what I'm saying? Who's a principal now? My man Deshaun Talib he got books out now. Kiss by the Devil. I think he's working on one of his joints right now. The Last Kiss. If it's not the title, I'm not sure, but shout outs to my man Deshaun Teller, who's an incredible book writer. So, everybody just started doing different things. I took this and ran with it. I took, SmartHipHop, mind you, this is like 2007. You know what I mean? So I took that, worked on it, and came out with Lesson 1 in 2012. But this was after going to different schools. This was after performing. This is after putting out a little EP and demo of it and selling it out the trunk myself. And, you know what I'm saying? And I bought all of the equipment to print out my own CDs and all of that. So I just started that grind. And I said, and what really, really just made me continue to do this was going around to different areas and seeing the kids and looking at the education of, it was 14 and 15-year-olds that couldn't read. You know what I'm saying? We was going to Philly, Camden, Newark, Patterson, South Carolina, Atlanta, California, to hoods. You know what I'm saying? So, because I wanted to reach the people that grew up how I came up. You know what I'm saying? And that, it kept inspiring me to just continue and to do more. You know what I'm saying? But that was the genesis of it. My man coming to me and saying, yo, I'm gonna do a kid joint. And then from there, me just taking that and going here with it.
Wow. Have you have like
That's dope.
Yeah, man, real fast, Juju. Has schools reached out to you to add what you're doing into their educational plan? Or do you have something packaged up that schools can utilize?
Well, in the beginning, I did all of that. Before people really heard about SmartHipHop Global, it was Smart Music Entertainment, and my wife and I, this is our company. So we were putting together packages, we were selling books, we was putting, I would have the lyrics to the album with the cliff notes and all of that. What you'll find is you cannot come into a particular area and change any kind of curriculum. You can't do it. You're not going to be able to add this or add that. You can do a workshop, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But dealing with urban areas, you'll find it's a lot of obstacles. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of the peoples in urban areas and all of that. It's a lot of work, but there's a lot of obstacles. And it became something that it just was impossible to do. You know what I mean? Now I still get I have to speak at a high school virtually coming up soon. I still have to speak at I still do this, but you're not going to be able to change a curriculum. For example, I'm talking about kings and queens. I start off by saying we don't come from slaves, but enslaved Africans. Can you imagine me going into different areas and talking to other people's kids and saying this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do. There's boards that have to meet. There's this, there's a lot that goes into what teachers have to convey. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just an individual thing where I can come up and say, hey, this is what y'all need to know. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. I tried, you know what I mean? And it doesn't work like that. But what you can do is you can say, okay, listen, we'll do a little workshop. You know what I mean? I'll come to your after school program. You know what I mean? I'll come to this, and I'll be in Teaneck, New Jersey on a Saturday. You know what I mean? You'll get your students there, and I'll perform the songs, and we still do that. But as far as changing the curriculum and sending your information to different schools so they can distribute it, like it's going to be a part of their core joint.
Right.
Nah, you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. I learned that the hard way.
Wow.
It's always a struggle, though, isn't it? But the key thing is at least there's like someone like yourself in their corner. It's like a lot of things that a lot of people like to talk about, but they don't physically go and do. So for you to actually make that, something that you're very passionate and you want to get to these kids, that's commendable on so many different levels, man. For real. Like the world could pretty much do with that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We won't stop trying, but the walls are there.
Yeah, and that's important. Like, that's the reason why we created this platform, to let people know that brothers like you exist. Because how do they know without letting people know that you're out there and you're doing the work?
That is one of the reasons, man. I am so appreciative of being on this platform, because what you said is exactly right. And it's what my wife and I, as people who are building this company and trying to create a platform to gain younger artists that have that in mind, to come out and have them, give them a voice. Without this type of platform, without people like yourselves, we are not going to make it. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, I'm really appreciative of this. I am. You know what I'm saying? It's a network, man. We on our Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman vibe right now. We got to do this, and we have to, be the people to move this along, regardless of whatever's out there. You know what I mean? We have to do this, and I just want to grab the youth and do it.
Yeah, that's been one of my biggest things as well. But you know what the thing is it's like, I suppose it's having the ability to communicate. Like I can talk to people who are 20 years my senior to 20 years my younger. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, someone said to me the other day, it's like, I keep on forgetting how old you are. And it's just like, well, and I see that as a good thing, and not in any other type of way. So just for YouTube purposes, but literally in a sense of being able to have that, just seeing people for the person of who you are. And that makes a world of a difference to certain people, because naturally we've always got our guards up, and we're always now, especially since the information, we don't know what's true and what's coming to us. So we feel that sometimes if someone's being genuine to you or with you, that they want something in return. And that's even if you're giving them a chance to say, even jump on here, like, here, have a conversation, or maybe send me a couple of your tracks. I'll play it on the radio when I'm doing my radio sessions. There's always something in their head, like, oh, like you said earlier, when you were handing your demos, that method hasn't, well, that mindset hasn't changed. You're like, oh yeah, you're going to steal my music, or it's going to be, you're not going to do what you say with it. But it's like, well, let me at least prove myself first of all. I know that I am coming from a good space and place. So like you said, thank you, for us, but thank you to yourself once again, man, because it's just that this is what makes the world go round. And linking onto that as well, because you're working on a couple interesting autobiographies, man. So do you mind, can you expand a little bit on those?
For upcoming music and upcoming projects, I'm working on a song about Robeson. I'm working on the new joint about Malcolm X. I'm working on a new joint about Ida B. Wells. I'm working on a joint that's going to go into classical artists, Mozart, Beethoven, Bach. I'm it's going to take a lot of work. I don't know when it's going to come out, and because it's during the creative process, it's very difficult for me to say, hey, next summer this is going to drop. You know what I'm saying? I dropped my first album in 2012. The next one didn't come out to 2019. You know what I'm saying? And then Wolves came out in 2020. That was back to back. But sometimes life gets in the way. And sometimes I really need to go in and educate myself on the people that I'm learning or that I want to talk about. So it's not as simple as just doing a Google search and finding a list of things and saying this is what I'm going to throw into the song.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's classical song that I'm working on. I'm doing research on Mozart. I'm doing, you know what I'm saying, and listening to their music. This is not a joint that's just going to come about. You know what I mean? So, and I like having the space and the time to do that. You know, one of the things about doing educational music and the main reason I decided to continue to do this is because I'm educating, it's ageless.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If you still are sharpening your tool, you can do it. Like you can't stop and then come back and think that flow is going to be the same. You can't do that. But if you're still out there rhyming, practicing what you think is your skill set, then when it's time to, you know, get back in the booth, you can do it. But I'm working on a lot. I'm working on a play. You know what I'm saying? Capone and I have other music that we've actually recorded some joints, you know what I'm saying? And they'll be out soon. And
Fine.
you know, it's a lot coming out. But I'm also in the process of moving, as y'all saw earlier when my man, it was an great on test and take it out. Like this house I'm in, this is already sold. So you know, it's life gets in the way. My daughter's going to college. You know what I mean? Sometimes things happen, but I need the space to create at my own pace. I love, you know, I have to move it if I'm rushed or this or that. It's something that's not going to come out right, and I don't like having I regret that. If I would have took more time, I just want to do it. I just want to do it perfectly. I want to have the plan, and once I create, then the dates come out. Then it's go time. Once the creative process is done, the business is handled differently. I'm in the creative space because after it gets out of the creative space, then that's my wife and I part. You know what I'm saying? And that's the business part. And then that's the interviews and the dates and the lineups. You know what I mean? That then, you know, so it has to be a lot more concrete because the battle plan is now in play. But while we're creating, you need peace to create. You need peace to build. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's hard to create in a chaotic space and be pure with that. You know what I mean? So I like to just not rush, not give out dates. But yeah, it's music coming, projects coming, beats coming. You know what I mean? And new sounds coming. I definitely want to just explore with the sounds.
And one thing I'm excited about that I read that you're working on, if you can kind of, I don't know if you're in the early process of it or you're kind of building to it, is that you're working on Paul Robeson. And Paul Robeson is a lot. You see you see a lot of images of him, especially you see a lot of people posting videos of the hearing he did at the house back in the days. Can you kind of talk about if you're working on it now, or can you kind of let audience know the impact of Paul Robeson? Because I put him in the same, because before MLK, before Fred Hampton, there was Paul Robeson and his story and his impact.
I went to Rutgers, graduated from Rutgers. You know, Paul Robeson is, you know, he's a football player. The only reason I didn't play football at Rutgers is because I got into a fight my freshman year, and they suspended my sports career for 3 years. So you know, it's the only reason I didn't play ball. But I came there to play ball, and you know, learning about that man, and then when I was at Rutgers, I became the president of a bus, which was called Blacks United to Save Themselves, which was the first Black organization at Rutgers. You know, and I had to speak about him a lot. You know what I'm saying? I was on PBS doing a special on him. You know what I mean? This was while I was still at Rutgers and all that. So I understand people don't really understand a lot about his story. And you'll see his name, although you always see the Paul Cultural Activity Center somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And everywhere, you know what I mean? But you don't know his story and you don't know what he went through. So I really wanted in the same vein of Harriet Tubman, I haven't decided if I'm going to do if Paul Robeson could rap, because I am listening to his voice and I know he was a great singer, he was an athlete, he was a performer, he was a scholar, or if I'm just going to tell his story, you know, because I don't want to have things be the same. But I'm just working on it, looking for the right track, keep getting information. I keep listening to his old material, keep listening to his voice to get it into my head. I keep picking out what exactly do I want to say, because it's a lot that you want to fit into this 3 to 5 minute time span. And that time span is getting shorter and shorter as music goes on. Songs used to be 5 minutes, then 4, now they're 3, now they're 2. You know what I'm saying? So you want to take all of that into consideration on one hand, and on the other hand, not. But, I just want to say that I am going to educate the world about that man just as a Rutgers graduate. And just to hold that down. That black man paved the way for me to even be at that school. So, there's a lot I want to say, but there's a lot I want to keep because of what that brother means to me.
Yeah. Facts. And I can't wait, man, because the world needs to know his story.
True indeed. True indeed. He's and like I said, I'm working on the play as well. Half of it is already done. But I gotta finish the other half. And one of the things that you're gonna be able to do with the play that I'm working on, it's a hip hop play. So we're performing skits, but the music is gonna coincide with what we're doing for each piece. And I gotta wait until I get the Paul Robeson joint done to even finish the play. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna be able to finish the play without certain pieces. So that's why, I've been talking about the play for a while. Everybody's like, where's the play? You know what I'm saying? I can put half of it out. You know what I mean? And there's more pieces that I want to add to this. And no one else is doing this type of stuff. I've only met one other person that's doing something in the same vein of these hip hop plays that I'm doing. And I went to see him, and I met him, and I went to his play and met him after the play to get advice from him. Wow. White dude, man, real cool. You know what I'm saying? Doing this thing, gave me a lot of pointers and a lot of tips. But it's coming. It's coming along. That's going to be bigger than music.
That's dope. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, looking forward to that, man.
Definitely. Harriet, Paul Robeson, Queen Azinga. It's Asada Shakur. You know what I mean?
It's like the Black Avengers.
Yeah. Everybody's gonna have their role. You know what I'm saying? Capone and I, you might see our daughters in it because they both act. You know what I mean? If I can get this thing done fast enough before they lose interest in being in it, but it's I look forward to doing this.
That's dope, man. I can't wait. Juju, are you paused? Are you like?
Am I paused? No, I'm just absorbing. I'm absorbing this, man. Like what? I'm not allowed to absorb the conversation. No, man. It's
I thought you was Zoolander. I thought that was Blue Still. I don't know. You was just.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah. No, I'm just once again. I was gonna look. That's exactly that, bro. What can I say? Like, it's not every day you get to speak to someone who's doing what he does.
Fact.
Appreciate this, brother.
So yes, I mean, just tying it up as well, because we know you got a lot on as well, but we've got a lot of good things to like you said. I think you've got a lot of good things to look forward to yourself, and I think the key part of what you said there was your little breakdown in the creative process, and I think that's a message that a lot of creatives need to hear as well, because even with me doing what I'm doing, it is understanding that one hand is the production side of what you're doing, so that's the creative process and where you need to be, and then there's, like you said, there's the whole business side of things, and I think that's where there's been a lot of because back in the day there used to be the artist or the creative, and then there used to be the business person, but now we're in a generation where a lot of youngers especially feel they have to be this self-perpetuating entrepreneurship, self-management team, which can kind of put a lot of pressure on things, and you can kind of sort of lose your way when you're trying to put out your creative things, because you're then wondering about how many likes you've got, how many reposts, how many tweets, and that's just one aspect of it, and then how am I going to get monetized off these things? So I just want to just say thanks for just breaking that down, just to say that it's a right to actually do one thing on one side and then focus on your business. But I also would encourage anyone, especially if you've tuned in and you've listened to this long, is there is trust that's needed, but don't forget networking is key. That's one thing we've forgotten. Even though we're in a social media generation, we are vastly disconnected and, you know, kept in our own little sort of bubbles of fear of people taking what you own. And funny enough, that's where NFTs, I think, is a great prospect potentially going forward. But yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to everything you got. I'm looking forward to the new music with Capone. Do you think you and Talib are gonna ever maybe do another couple joints to satisfy me being greedy?
It's possible. You know what I'm saying? I know the line of communication is open. The respect level is there.
Man,
internet. Out, you know, and if it's the right project, it'll definitely happen.
Damn you, internet.
Considering it. So yeah, it might. I have, you know, there's gonna, you know, I do plan on working with some people that are gonna, you know what I'm saying, make people like, yo, I didn't know you was working with that brother right there. You know what I'm saying? So I got some secrets in the bag. But yeah, it's gonna be some people on there that people respect and people want to hear from, that they just are not gonna anticipate me working with, you know. But yeah, we're gonna have some stuff on there. I gotta hold all that. But yeah, you know.
So, well, make sure you come back to us, man. When you got your new material, chop it up again. So once again, like, comment, subscribe. If you, well, we just need it. Share with everybody. Let the world know. But this has been another episode of No Name Podcast. Thanks very much, Lak, for joining us. Ish, as always, pleasure, my dude, and everything else. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.